I am going to tell you the story of Little Red Riding Hood. I'm actually reading it on the screen, which is my eyes are staring downward. It's crazy. Alright, so here we go. So once upon a time, in a certain little village, a little country girl, prettiest creature you've ever seen, her mother, who was excessively fond of her, and a grandmother who doted on her even more. Dotted means liked her. Like she just really like spoiled essentially. So the good woman had a little red riding hood made for her. It suited the girl so extremely well that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood, hence the name. One day, her mother, having made cakes, said to her, "Go, my dear, and see how your grandmother is doing, for I hear she is taken very ill. Take her a cake and this little pot of butter." Little Red Riding Hood set out immediately to her grandmother, who lived in another village. Now, this is some crazy stuff. You gotta imagine this little kid going through the woods by herself, which a little outdated, but you know how it is. As she was going through the woods, she met a wolf who had a very great mind to eat her up, but he dared not, because some of the local woodcutters that nearby were in the forest, like we're talking lumberjacks, people with big axes that cut down trees. Now, he asked her, "Where are you going, little girl?" The poor child, who did not know what it was dangerous to say and talk to a wolf, said to him, "I'm going to see my grandmother. I'm going to carry her a cake and a pot of butter for my mother." "Does she live far off?" said the wolf, who someone was talking. "Oh, yeah. Oh, I say," answered Little Red Riding Hood. "It's beyond that mill you see there, at the first house in the village." "Well," Lewis said, "I'll go and see her too. I'll go this way, and you go that way. We'll see who will get there first." The wolf ran as fast as he could, taking the shortest path, and the little girl took the roundabout way, entertaining herself by gathering nuts and running after butterflies and gathering bouquets of flowers. And it wasn't long before the wolf arrived at the old woman's house, and he knocked on the door, tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" "It's your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf, counterfeiting her voice. So I guess it was more like, "This is your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood. And who has brought you a cake and a little pot of butter sent by a mother." The good grandmother, who was in bed because she was still not ill, cried out, "Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up." And that's like a little old door. Like, we're talking like ancient. Like, no one does that anymore, just so you know. The wolf pulled the bobbin, which is like a latch on the door. And the door opened. Then he immediately fell on the good woman and ate her in a moment, for it had been 3 days since he'd eaten. And he shut the door and got on the grandmother's bed, expecting Little Red Riding Hood, who came sometime afterward and knocked on the door. Tap, tap. So basically, the wolf ate her, and he ate the old lady, and then basically got in the bed pretending to be her. So Little Red Riding Hood's at the door, right? So Little Red Riding Hood's at the door. He's like, "Knock, knock, knock." And he's like, "Who's there?" "Your grandchild, Little Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf. Oh, sorry. We already did that part. Came at the coop. Yeah. She came sometime afterward and knocked at the door. Tap, tap. "Who's there?" Little Red Riding Hood, hearing the voice of the wolf, was at first afraid, but believing her grandmother had a cold and was hoarse, meaning she had a really deep voice because she was sick and coughing. And the grandma's like, "Hey there, sonny. It's your child, Little Red Riding Hood, who brought a cake and a pot of butter." So she brought this big cake and like a thing of butter, which I could not tell you why. I think the story is written in the 1700s, so it's older. Like, it's not current. The wolf cried out to her, softening his voice as much as he could, "Pull the bobbin and the latch will go up." She pulled the bobbin and the door opened. Obviously, that's a latch in the door. Now, the wolf, seeing her come in, said to her, hiding himself under the bedclothes, "Put the cake and the pot of butter on the stool and come into bed with me," which pretty creepy. Just put that out there. But Little Red Riding Hood took her clothes off and got into bed. Okay, this is getting a little not PG. But she was greatly amazed at seeing how her grandmother looked in her nightclothes and said to her, "Grandmother, what big arms you have." like grandmas don't have big arms. She's like, "Oh, that's weird." "All the better to hug you with, my dear," is what she was like. And then, "Grandmother, what big legs you have." "All the better to run with, my child." "Grandmother, what big ears you have." "All the better to hear with, my child." "Grandmother, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see with, my child." "Grandmother, what big teeth you've got." "All the better to eat you with." At the same words, a wicked wolf fell upon Little Red Riding Hood and ate her up. Oh shoot, this is one. There's other stories of this too, where like a lumberjack comes in and like saves the day. So let's modify this slightly. So then she's getting in there, and the wolf is about to eat her, and then all of a sudden the lumberjack knocks on the door, like knock, 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 knock. And the wolf's like, oh my god, that's probably one of them. And he's like, open the door, I know you're in there, wolf, right? So he gets his big axe and chops the door down and breaks the door open. And he sees the wolf goes running. He's like, no, you're not going to eat this child today. You're not going to eat this kid. And he chases the wolf, hacks him down, cuts it open. Grandma's perfectly fine, just covered a little bit of wolf stuff. But give her a nice shower, she's perfectly good, and they upgrade that door because that door is pretty old and sucks. Then they all have cake because that's a way better ending to that horrible story. So, yep. That's the gist of it.